And actually, I didn't. I said I started the recording, but I didn't. Now I have. Now you're on camera. Now it's time for our Toastmaster of the day, Deborah, to take it away. Deborah, I will give you the co-host superpowers. So if needed, you can mute everybody.
Okay.
And I'm going to mute myself and let you take it away.
Thank you. All right, everyone. Well, we do have a couple. Elaine just came in, so that's great. We have a watcher. Right now, we're just still waiting for the chat monitor. And that's Christian. So let's, he might just float right in also. Tonight we have quite a unique group because it's a little bit smaller than what we're used to, but you never know who will still pop in. And Norman just came in too. This is great. So tonight's theme is second chances, and where am I here? Because I was trying to watch everybody to see who's coming in. There's Roger back and forth. Anyway, so our group our meeting is divided into three groups. We have our prepared speeches, then we have table topics, which are, as everyone knows, are the fun part. Well, it's all fun, but it's the impromptu because we have to think quick and get on our feet. And then naturally the evaluations and the feedback. So to start out, I'd like to have our evaluation team. I'd like to introduce them. And Tiger, where did you go? Are you here? Tiger's not here. He will be back.
No, I'm here.
There you go. I just didn't see on my screen. So, okay. Tiger, okay. Tiger's our grammarian. Tiger, please tell us what you're doing tonight.
Okay, well, first of all, let's just get right to the word of the day. The word of the day is gratitude. Also be accepting the word grateful, because the word gratitude essentially means that you are being grateful. So grateful is a little easier to use in the language in your sentences. So go ahead and use it. For me, this is a very meaningful word because I am grateful for the second chance that Online Presenters has given me in Toastmasters. And our theme for the night is second chances. So have fun with the word. I'm going to be looking mostly for uses of the language that is unusual or exceptional or totally incorrect. Hopefully not much of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Tiger, are you also going to be taking care of the position?
Yes, I'll do the ahs and the ums, that kind of thing. You bet.
Thank you. Thank you. Because Nick was tired, but now he's going to get really tired timing. So thank you. Our watcher is Elaine. Elaine, would you tell us what you're going to be doing for us? Oh, we need you to unmute, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
This evening, I'll be paying close attention to the visual impression that viewers get to experience or members get to experience as they're watching the screen of each other, and particularly our presenters. Are they making good use of the space? How's their lighting? And if they're using any kind of PowerPoint or other audio visuals, how are those being effectively used? Back to you.
Thank you. Our chat monitor is not here. Is anyone ready to step up and help out with that? Roger, could you maybe? Or Sil? Mike Walsh. Mike Walsh is our chat monitor tonight. Mike, would you tell us what you're going to be doing?
There we go. So I'll put my glasses on and have a look at the chat. I'll monitor what's going on. I'll see if there's any questions that need to be brought forward and really just contribute and make sure that everything is going properly and do a report at the end of the meeting.
Thank you. And Christopher House, you are our vote counter tonight. Please tell us what you'll be doing.
Yes, as vote counter, I am the person who collects and tabulates the vote. And voting is done via the chat box. So separately after the prepared speeches, after the table topics, the evaluations, each of you should send me your vote privately in chat. And then I will then announce the best speaker, best table topics, and best evaluator of this evening's meeting, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Tonight, our first speaker, I just realized that Lois isn't here to evaluate. David, now what do I do? Roger, thank you. You'll take care of it? Okay.
Deborah, can
Yes.
I just introduce the timing slot, please?
Sure.
Because Antoinette
I
looks like
didn't-
she's not going to
I
make
just
it.
jumped right over you, didn't I? Okay.
Yeah, well, right. My name is Nick. I'm going to be the timer today. All the speeches are down as 5, 6, and 7 minutes. So at 5 minutes, you'll see the green screen behind me. At 6 minutes, you'll see the yellow. And then 7, you'll see the red. And for table topics, it's 1, 1.5, and 2. And for evaluators, speech evaluators, it's going to be 1, 2, and 3 minutes. Please stick to time. Let's make this a good show. Thank you very much. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Nick, and thank you for reminding me or stepping up like you did. Our first speaker tonight is Viviana. Are we ready? And who is working from the Dynamic Leadership Level 1, which is Mastering Fundamentals. She's working on evaluation and feedback, and this is her first speech, and it's called Transformation. Help me welcome Viviana as our speaker.
Thank you, Deborah. So, what was your why when you joined Toastmasters? I wish I had known Toastmasters when I just graduated from university. I would have joined Toastmasters if there had been one Toastmaster club in my town. British Council was the only option that I knew to support working adults through their business skills workshops. And we had once a month gathering. So then I heard from my Facebook friend in the United States that she overcame the fear of public speaking and practice speaking at Toastmasters. So for the same reason as my friend, I joined Toastmasters to overcome my fear of public speaking, to gain confidence, and to improve my communication skills. Is that truly my why to join Toastmasters? My other mom friends question me, why do you want to join Toastmasters? I should have replied them, if I were you, I would join Toastmasters anyway, because we can upgrade ourselves and acquire professional development skills which may be useful later. Shouldn't we strive to reinvent and upgrade ourselves and adapt to the ever-changing condition? After all, my friends, hasn't the era changed? So I will share with you my recent experience when I attended the first District 51 conference because it took place in my town. Sorry. All right, so here is I met with the other first-timer Toastmasters who never attended the conference before. And I was lucky to meet with the president of Toastmasters International earlier than my fellow Toastmasters in United States and Canada. And I had the golden opportunity to listen to her sharing of wisdom in the educational session. She talked about the golden opportunity and golden nuggets. So actually the Toastmaster is all about transformation. How Toastmaster can transform your life and your career. So now I got it that Toastmaster is a golden opportunity to add skills and acquire good Toastmasters value known as rights, respect, integrity, service, and excellence. And the new skills and values that we get from Toastmasters are golden nuggets. So Toastmaster is not only for improving speaking skills, but the process in Toastmaster itself is transformation. So here is the transformation stage shared by my mentor coach, Rajiv. He described transformation in 4 stages. So do you wonder that transformation happen at accelerated rate like this? Or does it happen slowly, like a child riding bicycle, and she needs help along the way to make improvements? Actually, transformation can happen in both ways. It can happen so fast at accelerated rate, or it can happen slowly. So here is the first stage in transformation, is be willing and find your why. Earlier, my why was I wanted to improve my speaking skill. And then the second stage is you see small improvements in values and skills. Sometimes they are so small and unnoticeable. We should be grateful for the small improvements that we get. And then the third rule is celebrate your breakthrough. Joining a contest can be an opportunity to make a breakthrough in your life, such as this is the champion of the speech contest. And then the last stage of transformation is you change your identity and belief, or you upgrade your identity. So are we proud to be a Toastmaster? Say yes, yes, yes. So I see that Toastmasters transform the life of president of Toastmasters International, such as she's going from strength to strength and making friends around the world. And she has a radiant smile and a wisdom. So I found some golden nuggets in Toastmaster. For example, my daughter joined the Gavel Club, the Toastmaster club for the teenagers. And here is with my friend, fellow Toastmaster, and the mentor of the Gavel Club, Pak Peter. And I also make friends with Toastmasters around the world. So before, I just believed that Toastmaster is only a platform to improve my speaking skill. Now I see a big picture that Toastmaster is a vehicle to transform our life and our career. Back to you, Debra.
Thank you, Viviana. It's always a transformation. We each and every one of us know that. Our next speaker is Joy Knudsen. She's working out of the Effective Coaching Level 1, Mastering Fundamentals, Evaluation, and Feedback. And this is the first speech. The title of her title is, Why Should One Vote? Joy joined Toastmasters in 2011 in Denmark and became a DTM last year in Arizona. One of her hobbies is to go to visit Toastmasters in other countries and states. And last month, she visited one club in Daytona Beach and another in Port Orange. This month, she's visited in Sholo, Arizona, and OP, Online Presenters, has been her home club since January. Today, she'll speak about why one needs to vote generally and especially in European Parliament elections. This is her first speech, once again, of the Effective Coaching Path, Level 1. It's assignment number 2, and it's called, Why Should We Vote? Help me please welcome Joy to begin speaking.
Did you know that elections to the European Parliament were held in 21 European Union countries yesterday? Good. The 7 other countries, they had already voted last week, but all the votes were counted yesterday. So now we know the results. This was the 8th time there were elections to the European Parliament. The first time was 1979. That time 62% of citizens in the EU countries voted. The problem is that interest in voting in European Parliament elections has declined dramatically since 1979. And at the same time, the power of the European Parliament has increased. And they have been working slowly but effectively to improve and harmonize European legislation. And currently it's estimated that about 80% of legislation in any EU country comes directly from the EU. And that's why it would be very important that people would go voting. There can be many explanations to this paradox, that the powers are increasing of the parliament and people are less interested in what's going on. But one of them, I think, is the same as in the US and in many other countries, that people are just not interested in politics in any other way, that they are just complaining and criticizing politicians, but not willing themselves to become candidates or go and vote. Personally, I think the right to vote is the most important civic right. It's the basis of democracy. And democracy so far is the best system we have invented. Hopefully in the future we can invent something better. I'm grateful that I grew up in a democratic country, in Finland, and I have had a possibility to vote in lots of elections. Therefore, because this is important to me, when one of my Danish friends, JP, asked this winter whether I could help him to increase voting percentage in European Parliament elections, I said immediately, yes, let's do it. He and his professor friend Uffe, they had done some brainstorming during Christmas and come up with an idea to a non-partisan campaign. And the idea was that we would contact a couple hundred famous Danish people and persuade them to function as role models. And these people we would ask them to write a little poem. And we would collect the poems and their pictures that would of course be delivered for free by the biggest news agency in Denmark. We would collect them onto a website, and then people could share them from there and disseminate on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn platforms. A brilliant plan. since my traveling life prevents me from doing a lot of things that requires presence in Denmark, I took some easy tasks, like finding email addresses to these lots of famous people and contacted them over internet. And then later on following up with them how things were proceeding. And we were lucky in many ways. I mean, JP managed to persuade some other people to volunteer to organize meetings and write press releases, and he himself wrote a book about EU is also Danish. And we managed to get a lot of media interest also around this. But for my part, in recent months, I have then written thousands of emails. And the result was that 135 famous people wanted to participate in this. And these people I was contacting, they were artists, scientists, sports people, singers, all kinds of people who are not professional politicians. And we also tried to get a lot of young people as role models because we wanted to target especially young people. They need to be part of shaping the future of Europe. And all of these people delivered a little poem that rhymes with 2 words. The word for home in Danish, which is hjemme, and the word to decide, which is bestemme. Hjemme and bestemme. And for example, the best female football player in Denmark and in the whole of Europe, Pernille Harder, she wrote a funny little poem that I have translated freely to say, you don't get to the top in the football by watching television. Get up and vote, be part of a bigger mission. And these other volunteers who are in Denmark, they then shot some video films also with Pernille and some other guys. And these have been disseminated on these different social media platforms. Did we then succeed in increasing the voting percentage? Yes, we did, by 10%. So 66% of Danish people, 2/3, voted yesterday in European Parliament elections. And at the European level, over 50% of citizens in EU countries voted. That's the record so far. Why do I then want to be part of this? I think I already explained that the democracy is important for me, and it will not function if people don't use their voice and go voting. Therefore, you too, whenever you get a chance to vote in political elections, go and vote. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very, very much, Joy. But we always have such great speeches. So tonight our third speaker is David Carr, not a relative and not my ex-husband, trust me. Anyway, he's working on Visionary Communication Level 2 pattern, and it's learning your style and understanding your leadership style. David's title is Learning to Lead. And so David's been an online presenter. He's the one that charted all of us to get everybody together initially to get us started. This year, he's serving for the 2nd time as president of the club Awesome Toastmasters in Coral Spring, Florida. He's been the past past president here. And today he will tell you what he's learned on all of this that he's been doing. So please help me welcome David Carr.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Everybody hear me okay? Okay. We're broadcasting. Pathways provides a Know Your Leadership assessment that you're supposed to use for this project, which I don't particularly think I learned anything from. But have I learned a lot about leadership through Toastmasters? Yeah, I've learned a lot, and I'm grateful for what I've learned from all of you. I particularly think of my experiences at my home club, Club Awesome. Before joining Toastmasters, I had been an officer of several different organizations, including a Society of Professional Journalists chapter, my homeowners association, but typically I was the secretary. I was the person who took notes. It was in charge of communication, and I believe in communication, the importance of communication. A lot of organizations, one of their downfalls is poor communication. And so I was able to contribute in that way. And I got into Toastmasters. I spent about a year, and I was willing to step up to an officer role. I was thinking sergeant at arms. I could be the guy who got the coffee and set up the room. I thought that was about where I was at. And of course, that's when the head of the nominations committee, who was also our area governor, tapped me on the shoulder and said, "I'd like you to be VP of Education." Me? Yeah, you must be talking to somebody behind me. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just getting started here. But he and some other ringleaders thought that because I was a writer and editor that I could help with some meeting planning things. I probably could come up with some educational material. And they trusted me to figure out the rest. So for that, I am grateful. One of the ways I compensated for my relative lack of experience as a speaker was by drawing on other strengths. So before the end of the year, as VP, I had retooled and rewritten and redesigned our website to try and make it a more powerful marketing and recruiting, as well as meeting organization tool. To me, even organizing the agenda was a communications exercise. It's letting the members know about the opportunities that you'd like them to step up into, and collaborating to solve routine problems. Before the end of that year, I got a battlefield promotion. In the military, that means that's when your lieutenant takes it in the neck and you get promoted to the next rank. So our president stepped down, I stepped up, and that meant that my first Toastmasters term really lasted about 14 or 15 months instead of a year. I stepped up a little bit early. And we had some problems too during that year. At one point, we lost our metering location, and we spent quite a time, wandering around, going from place to place where we could meet for a few weeks, but wasn't permanent until we found someplace we could stay. And we had the turmoil of the president leaving with a little bit too much drama involved there as well. But we moved forward. You may have heard the saying that judgment comes from experience. And where does experience come from? It comes from bad judgment. I'm sure I have made and continue to make many mistakes as a leader. Maybe Lois could tell you better. She's not here tonight. So I guess I'm safe, maybe. But Lois came into the club when I was in leadership, and I must not have been too awful, because she and some other great people stuck around and eventually went on to be presidents and hold other leadership positions. And the club grew. And I felt that even if I hadn't gotten everything perfect, I at least set some positive directions that they were able to build on. So here are a few of the things that I think I do right. One is just to project belief in the value of the program, what we teach each other, what we learn from each other, the idea of this being peer-to-peer education, where we all help each other out. And I believe that a good Toastmasters club is much more valuable than taking a college course on public speaking. You get so much more practice at so many different skills. I also work at showing enthusiasm, and for me that's work, because I'm not an extrovert by nature. But if you were at my club and you saw me go up to speech, I run to the front of the room. And maybe it's a little bit difficult to project the same energy within this little frame here, but I try and project the fact that this is something that's exciting, and I want laughter and applause in our meetings. I also work at showing appreciation for other people, because I believe that's critical. And I learned it because I got it from other senior members of the club who talked to me about an idea that I had or a difficult decision that I led the way through. And that pat on the back meant a lot. I want to pass that on. Within the officer team, each officer has a specific role spelled out by Toastmasters International in some detail. But I think what's more important than that is that you have a team of people who are willing to back each other up, fill in for each other when somebody can't make it, has a conflict, and then politely fill in for other people's weaknesses too. As much as possible, you want to form a cohesive team. You might have a difficult person, but that's life. And a leadership team must make decisions. In my experience, committee processes are important. I do believe in democracy, Joy, but it's a mistake to expect a consensus will naturally emerge. You might start out with an open-ended question and a broad-ranging debate, but if people are going in circles, it helps to lead in a definite direction. Because even if they don't agree with you, that'll give them something to push back against, and you're more likely to get to a decision. And if it's not the decision that you originally wanted, it's better that you make a decision rather than letting things linger. And a corollary to that is to know when to make a decision on your own authority rather than by committee. Know how far your team trusts you to go out on a limb, to, how much rope will they give you to hang yourself, essentially. For example, I would never spend the club's money without some broader authority, but I've been known to do a lot of harebrained things, like say, it's Wednesday today, but on Friday, we're going to reorganize our whole meeting around this Facebook Live session that we're going to do in the middle, and we're going to try and promote the club that way. And people put up with me. They put up with a lot. Having led this club to charter and started a number of other things, I feel more confident in my ability to lead today. And a big part of that is knowing when to tap someone else on the shoulder and say, it's time to step up. I know you can do it. You can. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, David. If everyone would please send their vote to Christopher, that would be absolutely great. And what about the timing, Nick? Did everybody qualify? And if you'll put that in the chat box also.
Hi. Right. Unfortunately, we only had Joy who qualified.
Oh.
So I'll put the timings in the chat. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess that took that one easier, different, unexpected.
That's going to make the vote easy.
That made the vote easy. So, that's the thing about Toastmasters. We just love to talk. We do. Yeah, we do. Tonight with our table topics, which we have been forewarned, Magna is our topics master. So be careful. You never know what's going to come with Magna's, with her talks or with table topics. So bring it on, Magna. Let's bring you out.
Thank you so much, Madam Table Topics Master and friends. Tonight's table topic is going to be a little bit different. I have decided to do the unthinkable by finding images that will jog your brain. So this is what you're going to do, please. First and foremost, you've got to tell the backstory. And then you've got to tell us exactly why or why not you're going to give the object of the story a second chance. And in your table topic, you need to work the word gratitude in as well. So it's really very easy. I'm going to call a name. I'm going to flash an image just for a moment. Then table topics, the person is going to proceed 2 minutes. Tell us the backstory, why or why not a second chance, and use the word of the day, easy peasy. My first victim, in this case, I'm going to name the people first, because if I show the image, I'm spoiling the fun. So while I'm doing this, I'm quickly going to share screen, and my first victim is going to be Roger. Why Roger? He's not shy to talk. Roger, this is your image. Take it away, Roger.
Thank you, Madam Table Topic Master. Well, let me first tell you what the heck you just saw. What you saw was the picture someone else took when I went to the safari. I thought I could be the photographer for the group. And I got very excited. And I got closer and closer and closer. Then I realized I could have been lunch for somebody. And when I actually realized what's happening, somebody yanked me by the neck and gave me a second chance. Unfortunately, our little tiger was able to grab onto my camera, but I am grateful that I'm here because I have that second chance. And with gratitude, I really have no idea who grabbed me by the neck. I'm just glad that somebody did. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, why should Roger have a second chance? He should have been bitten. He should have been taken away. But because I was not, because I was given that second chance, some of you are laughing right now. Some of you have a smile on your face. Yes, I do know that sometimes I can be much, and sometimes I do get into your face. But I do that so that you can improve your speaking skill. I do that so that you can enjoy at least for an hour a week, every single week. So with gratitude of being picked as a victim, but yet survive that little scare in that safari, I am glad to be here in this club. I'm glad to have met a number of you, and I look forward to one day meeting all of you, not just online, but in person. Back to you, Madam Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Roger, you really grabbed the essence there. You immediately caught on. You gave us reasons why you, of all people, got a second chance. And then you had some anatomy in their neck and foot. And I really enjoyed your table topic. The next victim is going to be, let me look here. I think the next victim, can someone take over for Nick on timing, please? No, Nick is not okay with that.
Okay.
So, good. Mark, where are you? Can you take over the next one, please? I can't see you, Mark. Is Mark available?
Are you looking for Mike Walsh?
I've got name Mark here. Mark Walsh.
Mike Walsh.
Mike, please. Are you there, Mike? Too scared. Victor. Victor, are you willing to take this table topic? Can you unmute yourself, Victor?
Yes, most definitely.
Okay, Victor. Here's your table topic. I'm going to show you the image just for a little while. You've got to tell us the backstory. You've got to tell us why or why not this is deserving of a second chance. You can make the character whoever you want to.
Where am I supposed to see the image?
I'm sharing my screen, so if you can't see that, it's got to be on your screen.
No, I only see you, but I don't see any
I'm
other
sharing
image.
my screen, so maybe I should ask someone else. Norman, can you see the image? Norman? Where are you, Norman? Come in, Norman, baby. Norman. Well, I have exhausted the people that is not doing any roles, so I'm now going over
maybe
people.
maybe you can just tell me the image because we don't want to
No,
miss
it's
the
too
opportunity.
difficult. It will take too much time.
Just tell me something,
Yeah,
whatever.
he may have it. I think what he may have, Victor may have, is that just on speaker view instead of the full screen.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if that's why.
Good. So I'm going to ask.
Okay, I changed it to the other,
Okay. Let's
Okay,
try.
can you see the screen now?
the large screen. Yes, let's try.
Well, that's your image. Give us the backstory. Tell us why or why not this
sorry.
person's got a second chance.
I'm sorry, I don't see any in any picture. I don't see any image, so I'm gonna miss the opportunity.
Oh, okay. David, please help me out here. I need a willing participant, an able participant. Sorry that you guys don't get that. David, can you see that
I can.
image?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Can you continue with the story, please?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. I always liked skydiving with this woman because there was something about how she dressed and that fluorescent dyed hair and the way that it would blow in the wind when you're falling at several hundred miles an hour was just dazzling, now, you know, there was a time when my parachute didn't open, and I reached out to her and I asked her for help, and she was paying no attention to me. She was focused on what she was doing, and she pulled the ripcord. I fell several thousand more feet. And fortunately, my equipment recovered at the last moment. I did survive that one, but I didn't care because she was beautiful, she was stylish, and I liked being around her, and it made it all worthwhile. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you so much, David, for standing in and telling us about your hairy experience and this wonderful, crazy woman that didn't help you when your ripcord gave in and you were stranded mid-air. You must be really open to her attentions, if you know what I mean. Thank you for that. Our next image is going to be the following, and I think I'm going to ask Jacinta, although she did a speech, she declared herself willing to be a participant. Jacinta, this is your image. You've got that, Jacinta?
Yes, I do. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the definition of a bad day. Let me tell you what happened. We went on an African safari. Me, my husband, were all very fit and had a wonderful time. And while we were looking, we saw the beautiful aspect of the safari. But suddenly, out of nowhere, there's this huge, I don't know how many 1,000-pound elephant that ran close to us. Because me being silly, I decided to just wave at the elephant. So I guess he thought I had some peanuts. I don't know, but he came running to us really quickly. We drove as fast as we could, and the elephant didn't really care because he ran right into us. Now, the picture that you see right now is the aftermath. Luckily, my husband and I were able to jump out of the car before the elephant just decided to lay on it and take a nap. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a bad day, but we made it out safely. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Jacinta. You gave us a wonderful backstory. I don't know who got the second chance. I think both of you got the second chance by just getting out of there alive. And that's giving us food for thought. Thank you for that. My next, and maybe the last, depending on how we're going with time, is going to be for Asil. Asil, can you get closer, please? I going to share the image with you. Remember who's got the second chance. And here you go. Can you see that, Asil?
Yes, ma'am.
Asil? You can see it. Good. Thank you. Please tell us the backstory and who's getting the second chance.
I got this invitation to the big event, and it was there were lots of people, and we were sitting, and my friend just ran to me and said, "Please save me! You have to save me! You have to go and show those clothes for me because I can't." So I said, "Okay, but I'm not a model. It's okay. We will make this crazy hairstyle and then you'll be fine." So I got to the changing room, and then I said, "No, I'm too short, 1 meter and 47, and I can't do that in the last moment. But at the same time, well, I should give myself a second chance to show myself to world. Why not? It's okay." So I decided to put this short skirt and make this crazy hairstyle, and just I was fine, and I did that. And just give yourself second chance and try something new, and you try to be out of your comfort zone. That was Toastmasters was teaching us always to be out of the comfort zone, even when you speak about this crazy picture, right? Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Asil, interesting story. You do standing in for a friend with a crazy hairstyle. I really enjoyed that. And talking about being outside of your comfort zone, you missed all that white powder on the face, but that is part of the fun. Thank you, everyone, for participating. It's with much gratitude that I'm handing over to the Toastmaster of the day. Thank you for participating in the table topics.
Thank you, Magna. That is just wonderful. The one that Victor had, I was so ready for that, and you didn't see my hand, because there's so much about women coming of age where you just, especially at age 60 on, you lose your filter and away you go. So thank you. If everyone would please send their vote, please, to Christopher, that would be great. And Nick, do you have the times, please?
Yes, I've posted the times in the chat. Roger, 2 minutes and 8. David, 1 minute 14. Jacinta, 1 minute 15. And Asil, 1 minute 59. So they all qualify for voting tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. And if you'll please go ahead and vote. And next up, we have Therese as our general evaluator. Therese, are you ready?
Yes, thank you, Madam Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters. I'm sure we've all moved into a new home. Has everybody moved into a new home at some point in time? Well, did you ever hear the thought of new home, new closets, but same old skeletons? We probably all have skeletons in our closet. That one thing that we'd never tell anybody, sitting here right now, if we had a dare, we would never say. But somehow, we did get a second chance after it. Whether it was that one cheating test on English in kindergarten, I don't know. I'm very grateful for the second chance I had in the thing I'm not going to tell you. Okay, let's move on. Now is the time that we get to get the most valuable part of Toastmasters, and that is feedback for our excellent speeches tonight. Our first speaker tonight was Viviana, and she told us about her Toastmaster experience, and she will be evaluated by our very own Mr. Roger, who is a quick change stand-in. Welcome, Roger.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Yes, some of us might have cheated. For me, it might have been just last hour, but I'll leave that alone for now. Because tonight, right now, for this next couple of minutes, it is all about Viviana. Viviana, one word I want to give to you that overshadow everything that you've done today is confident. You exude confidence in your speech, and I'll come back to that a little bit later. I want to give you a couple of areas that you can improve on. First is the idea of this transformation. This is a heavy topic, or can be a heavy topic, and it can be a challenging topic to the audience. Therefore, I would encourage you to make your closing even stronger, because you want people to hear that speech and come out and think about what are some areas that they may think about transforming, whether that be their experience here in Toastmasters or other place and other areas of their life. So for example, when we ended, you could have used something like reiterations or questions that you stack on top of one over and others in terms of your closing. You know, what is it that you want to transform? What is it? What is your why? Those are things that you could do to really punch your closing. Number two area that you could work on a little is what I would say improving or expanding your variety, whether it be your variety of volume, variety of your voice, variety of your pace, where you have some and your range is good. I would challenge you to go even further. For example, when you first started your speech with the question of what is your why, you could have paused a little bit. By varying that pace, you can punch the idea of what you want the audience to take home with. Now, with those couple of suggestions, and if you make those improvements, I believe it will make this speech even stronger and exude even more confident, because you were great with your graphics. You had graphics in your background, you have graphics in your PowerPoint, and you went back and forth with no problem. Your technical skills is right up there. You know exactly what you're doing. Your smile throughout. You got a little laugh here and got us into it. You've got the pace. You've got your enunciation is good. It was very clear to me in every step that you have, and you have steps. So I would say continue to do all of this by adding more variety, by adding that range, and think about what's the end. What do I want my audience to get? And by doing that, you can make that punch even stronger and transfer and transform not only your confidence, but the confidence into all of us as we listen to your speech. Excellent job. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Namaste. I think that's essentially gratitude in Hindi. I don't know. Somebody can tell me. Okay, our next wonderful speaker was Joy, and she is the get out and vote lady, and I would hope that we can all sing her pledge the next time we have our votes. Okay, and she will be evaluated by our dental lady, Ms. Jacinta, Dr. Jacinta.
Thank you so much, Madam General Evaluator. Are you all grateful that you have the ability to vote? Ladies and gentlemen, today Joy had the opportunity to express and incite us to vote, particularly as it relates to European elections. Joy was very interested to know if her presentation came across as authentic and sincere. Joy, I must say, with any presentation, for any of us, authenticity and being sincere is a very engaging aspect of your speech. And you did that so well today. You showed statistics. And anytime you're providing statistics, it shows the audience that you've taken time to really research what you were trying to say because it means something to you. And I could tell that that was something that was very important to you about how in 1979, there were 62% of the people there that were voting, and how that just drastically just declined very, very quickly. And you compare that to the 2/3 that voted today. And I think that's amazing. Sincerity, authenticity, you did 2 thumbs up on that for what you're looking for. There's a couple things that I'd like to highlight also about how conversational the conversation was. I felt like we were sitting in your home, having a cup of coffee and talking about what's going on in the world. And any speaker should try to aim to make their speech conversational so that you feel that you're having a genuine, very friendly discussion with someone about whatever the topic is. Joy, you did an excellent job with that. I have 2 highlights for you. The first would be to pause. There was a huge statement that you made, and I felt that it could have made more of an impact if there was a pause. An example of this would be, guess what? There were 135 people who were willing to participate. These people were singers, artists, writers, just really, if you had that pause there before that, it would have gave the audience more time to digest, because I was like, oh, wow, that's amazing work they did. But I had to really quickly think about what you were saying because I didn't have time to fully digest it. That would be the one highlight. The second highlight, one of the manual objectives is to have a well-organized speech. I would recommend for the introduction to have more organization to it. For example, you could list off, we're going to talk about the decline of voting, some of the voting models, and why you should vote. I think if you're able to place that into your speech, it'll help it flow a bit better because you had so much wonderful content. To summarize, I'd like to highlight and just tell you I'm grateful of your speech. You did an amazing job, and continue researching, work on their pauses, and also make sure that you are having an organized introduction. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
非常感谢. That's Chinese for thank you. Okay, our very own Mr. Jim Barber to evaluate our very own Mr. David Carr.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, my fellow Toastmasters, our guest Victor, and especially Toastmaster David Carr. This was a description of David's understanding of his leadership style. And I am always grateful to hear David speak. I'm especially happy to be allowed the opportunity to evaluate him, but especially on something like leadership, in which he is such an authority. I'm going to address, before I talk about leadership though, let me talk about his general communications, simply to say that you did so well, David. You did so well on everything. Your vocal variety, your diction, your vocabulary, your pronunciation, you were conversational, just across the board, everything was top notch. Just mentioning it so you'd know I was paying attention. Now let me talk about your leadership style, of the content of your presentation. I love the way that you opened it by saying that you effectively dissed the Pathways assessment guide. That it's not knocking Pathways that I applaud, but it established credibility. You showed that you weren't just giving the standard party line. You were saying you were going to get real with us. And so you said, frankly, I didn't get anything of value from this, but I did get value from other things. And you proceeded to tell us about that. You talked about how you weren't a natural born leader. You started off and in other capacities, and when you were approached as being a leader, your reaction was, what? Me? I think you've got the wrong person. And that was great because it enabled us, all of us, to kind of connect with you, because I don't think very few of us anyway feel that we were natural born leaders. And so it's nice to know that it's something that we can learn. You then presented some of the valuable lessons that you've learned by being a leader, by being president of Club Awesome, and also president, of course, this distinguished club. And you ended up on a motivational note, which was great, given that you kind of started on a not leading note. You said, I know you can do it, you can. And that was a very powerful way to end it. I have one suggestion for you. In gallery view, it doesn't matter, but in speaker view, you spend a lot of time looking at the gallery rather than looking at the camera. And in speaker view, it picks up on that. Remember that the speaker, we see it as though you're talking to the camera. So this is where you need to talk. But that's the only suggestion I got. This was a great presentation. I would like to hear a longer version of this at a Toastmasters TLI conference sometime. This was great information. Thank you very much, David. Have a good evening.
Gracias. Every time I look at myself on online Toastmasters, I feel grateful. Do you know why? It's because I see this awesome background that I put on, that I took that picture of the sky one morning. Isn't that neat? So I get to remember that beautiful morning because I looked up and it was just so beautiful that I took a picture of the sky. And every time I get online presenters, I'm reminded of it. So I am very grateful. So today I get the awesome opportunity to make some pointers. And Roger can tell you, I love to give my 2 cents. Whether anybody wants it or not, I'm good at that. Okay, so these are my thoughts. We had a little rocky feeling in the beginning. And I noticed that in the email, it said, see you at 7:45. And I thought, I get so confused with this club myself, with what time am I supposed to be here, and what time the door opens, and what time the meeting starts. I would recommend that email that goes out from the Toastmaster of the Day on Friday and Sunday and Monday include those 3 times. This is the time that we open the door. This is the time that we would start chat. This is the time, 7:40. We hope that all members are there so that the gavel can go down at 7:45. And maybe that would help, because to me, I'm confused myself. So that would help everything to start more smoothly. And of course, the table topics is much better to begin with choosing someone who doesn't have a role. So I would, again, recommend it would be a lot easier for Magna or whoever is the table topics if everyone was able to just add their role when they first join one to their name, or write no role. And it makes it a lot easier for the table topics person to scan through the room and pick someone else. And then I think that is all I have. Isn't that amazing, Roger? That's where Roger can tell you. He calls it my pop-up ideas. Thank you for everything, everyone. I enjoyed being with you. And this is actually, I acknowledge the light within you. Namaste. Thank you, and I'll turn this back to our Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Therese. What a nice wrap up. And doing those 2 things will, I think, be beneficial for the club overall. We do have all of the evaluation timings in the chat. Everyone qualified. Please be sure that all the votes are in, and so we can go from there on who was our best speaker, our evaluator, and our topics master, or our topics. So with that, I am just really grateful that David Carr went ahead and started this group, because I love this group, and this is my home group also. along some of the others. So, Victor, if you have anything to add about our meeting, if any ideas from viewing this tonight as our guest, you're muted.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. It was a great meeting, as most of the Toastmasters. The only thing that I wasn't sure is I couldn't see the image, and I was not very happy that we cannot adapt to the moment and say, okay, you were invited as a table topic, talk about everything, because this is how we grow up. But not to say anything about the Magda, she's great. It was just my feeling. But other than that, everything was fantastic. Thank you for inviting me.
Victor, do you have two different screens on your computer? You were talking about before about one screen was working and one screen wasn't?
Probably that's the issue, yes. One is not working.
Because Zoom sometimes will take the main image, which would have been that slide image that she was showing up, and it puts it on the second screen.
I see.
And then the other screen becomes your gallery view. And so so if you weren't seeing a screen, that might be where the missing image went.
Yes, thank you for letting me know.
Well, I hope you return and visit us again, Victor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Definitely.
I think we might have missed some reports from supporting roles, chat monitors.
Yeah, it's going to do that right now.
Okay.
Yeah, if that's okay. So for our grammarian, Tiger, you had both grammarian and our author.
Thank you, Ms. Toastmaster. So, Magna, I loved when you said my first victim, although I think you chased away some of your potential participants with that. Do the unthinkable to jog your brain. That was wonderful terminology. Deborah said, he's not a relative or my ex-husband. I thought that was hilarious. Used the word authority simply to say, and the content of your presentation. Very simple language, but very clear. I like how Christopher said, Madam Toastmaster, just very respectful. Joy, I wrote down about 40 things, but my favorite one was, there are many reasons for this paradox. David Carr came up with broad-ranging debate, ringleaders, and a battlefield promotion. Therese, the new home, a new closet, but the same old skeletons. Jacinta, the aftermath, the word authenticity, and the conversational quality of your conversation. That was very interesting, but very, very astute. Asil, the Toastmasters will help you out even when you're out of your comfort zone talking about this crazy picture. I got a good chuckle out of that. Viviana, I joined Toastmasters to overcome my fear of public speaking, gain confidence, and improve my communication skills. And Roger, I could have been lunch for somebody. And he said, you exude confidence. In terms of the word gratitude and grateful, just about everybody used it. In terms of awkward pauses and Asil had a couple of ahs there getting started. She obviously was trying to think her way through. Deborah had a couple of uncomfortable ahs and ums there at the beginning, kind of getting into her role. But for the most part, we did very, very well with that. So that's my report, and I'm sticking to it.
Thank you. Our watcher was Elaine. Elaine, do you have some comments for us?
Indeed I do, Madam Toastmaster of the evening, and I'm especially grateful that I'm in great proximity to my laptop screen, so I don't have to wear glasses and have any additional reflective glare that might not look as fine as I look without eyeglasses. I'd like to congratulate everyone, or the majority of the people, on having good, bright lighting. Jim Barber, you have spotlighting on one side. If you had had some frontal lighting also on the other side, it might have prevented the shadow that actually happened in front of your face when you were gesturing. So add a little spotlighting. That'll be good. And Viviana, the gold contrast that you have behind you has just been a warm blessing to everyone throughout the evening, you know, if we were in gallery view. So thank you for that. And you did an effective, work with your SlideShare presentation. Speaker Joy. I loved your purple and blue colors. It gave a nice contrast to your background. I would have loved to see you come a little bit closer to the screen so I could have felt a closer sense of your vibrancy. It would have come a little bit more alive for me. Also, I am an earring wearer like you, and I have gone to non-dangly earrings because sometimes dangly earrings can be a little bit of a distraction, as nicely as they are color complementary to your beautiful outfit. So think about that when you're close up. Those are all about the high points. For people who are newer here in the group or are guests, like Victor and Antoinette's been here in a while. It's always good to center yourself in the screen, even if you're, you know, not an active participant. And also, once again, come closer so we can come to appreciate your essence, your presence, even if it's in a quiet role. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you. Next we have our chat monitor, which was Mike. You want to give us a quick wrap up on that?
Sure. Our chat started off fairly business-like. Of course, we had our grammarian giving us the word of the day, and of course, our vote counters giving us the results as well as the reminders to submit the votes. A bit of confusion as to who that person was, but we got that straightened out. And of course, some general compliments. I didn't see our word of the day in the chat, of course, but anyway, I think it was fairly worked fairly well. One suggestion is that perhaps at the very beginning, maybe we'll put our roles right there. So in other words, a list of the roles. So if somebody was maybe checking to see, and maybe once everything gets settled, maybe scroll up to the top and say, oh yeah, I remember who the timer was and who the grammarian is and that kind of thing. And of course, if something changes, go ahead and make that change. So just maybe a suggestion for chat.
Thank you. And Nick, do you want to add anything at all about the timing? You already gave times, but I don't know if there's anything else you want to say.
No. Thanks very much to everybody. Yeah, good meeting. Thank you.
Thank you for stepping up. Everyone, thank you for stepping up. I mean, this afternoon, I thought we had everybody right on. I sent Roger an email. I said, everything's in place. We're ready to go. And we signed on. I thought, oh my, this is changing. And it was just like, kind of like an egg beater. But we did it, and I'm happy, and I'm very, very grateful that everybody showed up like they did tonight. I appreciate it. And I'm going to hand it right back over to David to close it down.
Great. We've heard from Victor, our guest.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I forgot about Christopher. Because we need to know our places of.
Yes, here I'm ready to hand out trophies, and I thought you guys forgot about me. Okay, so best speaker for the evening, no surprise, is Joy. Best evaluator is Jim Barber, and best table topics is Asil. So congratulations to all the winners.
All right, excellent. I think we're done, unless folks have something else they want to bring up, something else they want to say. Magda?
I'm burning to show you the image that you missed.
Oh.
And I'm going to show it now. And remember, the foot in the photo is that of a male. And now you look at how wet that shoe is.
Ooh.
Okay, so next chances. So what do you think happened in this photo? I'm not going to say a word more.
Thank you very much, Magda, for a very creative table topic subject or style. Excellent job. A couple of announcements. Number one, next week's meeting, I believe Jacinta is our Toastmaster of the evening. Please go in, jump in right now before you forget, and take up some roles because she will need some helpers. On June 13th, which is a Thursday night, same time as our Monday night meeting, will be our speechathon. If you have, whether it is a 20-minute speech or 2-minute speech, whatever size, shape, and form, you are welcome to sign up and snag one of those as our membership have increased. Tonight it's a little bit low because of long weekend, but speaking spot has been hard to come by. So use those opportunities, snag a spot and start speaking, especially for those of you who have been already advanced or have already received your DTM. At times it could be easy for us to focus on other things like leadership and forgotten to continue to practice our speaking skills. So grab a spot. If nothing else, do an icebreaker. Do a speech. Even though we might have known you for a long time, we do always have newcomers coming into our club and give us a different side of you. And maybe Magda can share with us how in the world does she come up with these crazy ideas? Oh, I mean, great ideas. So I'll leave it at that. That's my announcement for today. David, do you have anything else before we close it up?
Not too much. I have been working on, a number of people have actually been using the online evaluation system. So I'm working on a few things to try and make that better and more usable. So give me feedback. And Roger, I think you sent me a link to one that didn't work the other day, and I've lost track of that. So if you can find it.
I'll resend it to you. Basically, on our website, you can get to the evaluation form. So try to use it. If you run into any issues or suggestions for improvement, send an email directly to David and add a link. If you say, hey, there's a broken link or there's some broken page, copy that link so you know exactly which page has
it helps
the
to have the specifics. It helps a lot. Yep.
We'll help it out.
Excellent. Well, let's have a great night, everybody. Have a great week. See you next week.
Excellent. If you want to save any of the chat, go ahead and click on the chat box on the More button, and you can save that. And